Hello, I'm Sasha of Sasha Makes Cards, and welcome to this video featuring Whimsy stamps. For today's card, I am sharing this rainbow-themed birthday party card featuring the Party Animal Balloons stamp set and the Polaroid die. I started by first stamping all 6 of the balloon animals onto a 100-pound Hammermill cardstock using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, and then fussy cutting them. Since for this card I was going with a rainbow color scheme, I thought it was perfect to stamp all 6 of the images of the little balloon animals and then color each one a color of the rainbow. Today I am coloring these with Ohuhu alcohol markers, so here is a little rainbow color chart I created of the different color combinations I'm going to be using. Feel free to pause the video, screenshot it, and refer back to it so that you can kind of color match according to the markers you want to use. To color the images themselves, I started with my darkest color, working to my lightest color to create a nice blend. And since these are balloons, they're balloon animals, and they're pretty shiny, reflective, I decided to add a white highlight on all of them using a white Prisma-colored pencil crayon, or colored pencil, depending on where you're from. For this, you could also use a white Jelly Roll pen. That would work really great as well. Now, before I started working on the background, I die cut the Polaroid die off camera and trimmed it into 3 separate little Polaroid photos using my guillotine cutter. Now, to match the rainbow color scheme that I colored the balloon animals using the Ohuhu markers, I grabbed an assortment of rainbow distress oxides to ink blend a rainbow background. The distress oxides I am using for this are candied apple, spiced marmalade, mustard seed, twisted citron, salty ocean, and villainous potion. To create a smooth or a smooth-ish blend, I would first start with my one color, so for example, I'd start with candied apple, ink blend that, and then go on to my next color. So for this, it'd be spiced marmalade, ink blend with that before going back to my first color to try and successfully blend the 2 inks together. Depending on the color inks you're using, sometimes this can be a little harder than others, and sometimes it's easier. It all depends. So when it comes to Salty Ocean, my ink pad is a little dried up and unfortunately I don't have a re-inker. So I tried to make it work the best I can. It starts off a little bit rough, but eventually it blends at least a little bit. But in the end, you don't have to worry about it too much because it's going to be hidden with the Polaroid dies over top. Now, for a lot of my projects, I like to add splatter. So this is no different. This is what I am doing here. For this one, I decided to add both some splatter with water and white paint. The paint I'm using here is a bleed-proof white paint, which is perfect when you're working with inks so it doesn't pick up the color of the ink underneath. Now, since the party animal sentiment wouldn't fit normally on a vertical slimline card, I decided to stamp it in two separate parts on scrap pieces of white cardstock. I stamped the word party first on one scrap piece of cardstock and the word animal second on a second piece of scrap cardstock. I then trimmed off the excess off of both pieces of cardstock. Now that I have stamped, colored, ink blended all of my elements, it is now time to glue everything down. Using liquid adhesive, I started by first gluing all the Polaroid frames down and then gluing the balloon animals on top in rainbow order. After gluing down all of the balloon animals, I trimmed off the excess of the Polaroid frames that were overhanging my card front and finished everything off by gluing the sentiment to the card front and then gluing my card front to a slimline card base. And that is the completed card project. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the description box for a list of the Whimsy Stamps products I used to create this card, and for links to both my social media and the Whimsy Stamps social medias. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.